Us now to discuss Republican Congressman LaHood of Illinois. He's a member of the House Select Committee on Intelligence. Congressman, thanks for joining us. So a source says that the U.S. government believes Russia may have actually recovered some of the pieces of the downed drone. How confident is the intelligence community that they're not going to get anything sensitive?
Well, we don't know that yet. Obviously, that's something that we'll anxiously await what the intelligence community gets back to the House Intelligence Committee on. But I would say this, I think we've seen more provocative moves from Russia. We've seen an aggressiveness that maybe we haven't seen before. And obviously, we're going to watch and see what, if anything, they recover. But I think it's been alarming what the Russians have engaged in over the last couple of days. And it's raised, a new awareness in Congress.
Is the presiding theory that this was the Russian jets being provocative with the American drone, but they didn't mean to hit it? Or is the theory that they actually did?
I don't think we know that yet, Jake. That's something we'll have to learn from the Intelligence Committee.
Earlier this week, I wanted to ask you, there seems to be a division within the Republican Party about how important it is for the U.S. to support Ukraine during this conflict. As you know, Florida Governor DeSantis said that supporting Ukraine, in his view, was not a vital national interest for the U.S. What do you think?
Well, I think there's broad support within the Republican conference for Ukraine. But I would also, with the caveat, say that it can't be a blank check. We've had two significant votes in Congress on Ukraine military support. I supported the initial tranche, roughly $25 billion. I did not support the second round in December because it was part of a $1.8 trillion omnibus package that wasn't presented the right way. But I will say this, the military weaponry that we've given Ukraine, the HIMARS, the Javelins, the Stingers, the Patriot defense apparatus has been extremely successful in terms of this war with Putin and Russia. And so I still think there's broad support, but it has to be with an appropriate audit, making sure money is spent appropriately, and that it's not a blank check.
Last week, in a House Intelligence Committee public hearing, you said that you believe the FBI searched your name multiple times in an intelligence database. You called it an egregious violation of your privacy. You are also leading a working group to reauthorize Section 702, which would allow the FBI to continue this type of surveillance. Help us understand that, because it seems like there have been some FISA abuses, including possibly with you.
Well, we had an open hearing with the FBI director and other members of the Intelligence Committee last week. I think it's important for the public to know what FISA is, Jake. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act is a program put in place post 9/11 to go after bad guys overseas and many of our adversaries overseas. It's not in place to spy on American citizens. And unfortunately, we've had too many instances where civil liberties have been violated, where privacy rights have been violated. And as we look at reauthorization of FISA, that has to be done by the end of this year, which is very important to our intelligence services. What we articulated to the FBI director last week is there has to be reforms. I'm proud to be the chair of the 702 working group as a former federal prosecutor. I understand the importance, but it is not going to be a clean reauthorization. We're going to have reforms, safeguards put in place to make sure civil liberties and egregious cases and violations can no longer happen to American citizens.
Has anyone from the FBI reached out to explain how and why an FBI analyst searched your personal data?
Well, what we heard from Director Wray last week was a number of apologies. I think they've recognized that they've put in new measures. This apparently occurred back in 17 and 18. In 2021, they put in new measures, but we're going to continue to have conversations with the FBI and others in the intelligence community to make sure that we are putting in proper safeguards for the American people. What I tell people, Jake, is 85% of the FISA Act works well. It's the 15% that involves issues like what happened with the Carter Page FISA application, what happened with Russia collusion, and what's happened with other wrongful queries. We hope to clean up those type of activities when we present it to the Congress later this year.
All right, Republican Congressman LaHood of Illinois, thank you so much. Appreciate it.